Hello, Collective. We're here today to talk about revenge. I'm here to let you know revenge is not power, it's pain asking to be healed. You knew it. You knew I was going to say that. But we can return your power without harming yourself or harming anyone else. Okay? Welcome back, Divine Collective. I wanted to tell you guys, according to the Akashic Records, I told you I have been dipping into that. Revenge is not darkness, it's not evil, and it's not even wickedness. I was surprised when I read that. But what it is, it's unprocessed pain searching for restored dignity. If you want your dignity back. Something happened, you felt humiliated, your dignity was, you felt you had been violated, maybe betrayed, or deeply hurt. And your nervous system rose up to fight and it wanted to fight everybody. Okay. Then the mind creates the story. If they hurt like I hurt, I will finally feel free. But that's not true. What I heard in there about, well, what I read while reading the Akashic Records, what it teaches is no soul heals through another one's suffering. It just does not work that way. Healing comes from when power is returned to itself. Okay. So you got to somehow figure out how to get your power back. That's the only type. That's the only kind, only time, only type of heal, the only kind, only type of time of energy that you're going to feel better. So you are not here to suppress your anger. You are here to transform it, okay, into clarity and self respect. Welcome back, Divine Collective. I'm here at this point where I had an instance where I had to go to spirit guides and divine, and I had to go in prayer because I had pulled up some revenge energy. I'm not the type to crash out, but I be around people who love to do that. Uh huh. Yeah, they do, and basically, it led me here to getting a guided tarot reading for us so we can figure out how to get through revenge, because I already know, even if you don't follow the Bible or whatever, but you do follow some esoteric teachings, uh, it's always been said, and we know the verse, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. You know what I mean? So we already know that we're not supposed to be out here avenging people. Okay. We're not like these karmics out here. Okay. And another thing, too, I be out here listening to other tarot readers. I'm telling you, I can't stay away from Empress T444. I can't stay away from her. And there's some other ones out there that I just can't. Divine Bay. There's some other ones that I be listening to that I resonate with really, really well, and they help me to reflect. But I got into some revenge energy because I had started recognizing some patterns in some people. When I called them on it, they wanted to continue the pattern, and I wasn't in there for it. Okay. All right, so we're going to get into this reading. Just remember that all readings here are for the general collective. Take what resonates and let the other go back to the universe for it to recycle. Okay, these readings are also timeless, so if you're watching this, then now is the moment for these messages to find you. So please like the video, hit the subscribe button, share, so we can continue to grow on our spiritual healing journey. Okay. All right, and as you already know, before we get started, I like to step in and always do a prayer. So I'm gonna get my sound bowl out so we can just clear the energy. Watch your ears, because here we go. I give thanks to the Most High Divine Spirit for being here and for surrounding us with healing energy and for guiding today's messages. By the grace of the Most High and the Holy Spirit, this space is filled with love, peace, light. All energies that do not serve our highest good are transmitted into love, healing, and renewing energy. So let's step into this reading. Let's get into it together, guys. All right, so I've been shuffling up today, and we're going to be using three decks. I got three. I got a tarot deck out. I got Intuitive Kipper-ish deck, because we're going to be talking about some energies, honey. And then I also got our True Hidden Heart deck that we're going to be using as an oracle deck. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to cut and get into it. So this spread that I was guided to in my meditative state to come up with is called Release and Revenge Energy. Okay, we're going to be releasing revenge energy and reclaiming power. Okay. All right. And as you already know, if you are not aligned with the Most High, anything you do, say, try, or do in this 3D world will fail. Okay. So if revenge belongs to the Lord, then you're going to need to learn how to transmute it when it comes up to you so that you know how to give it over to the Lord. Okay. All right. So in this, the core wound behind the revenge is for the core card that's going to be coming out. So we're going to ask Spirit. Let's just get a card out here and see what Spirit says about that. The core wound behind the revenge energy, Spirit. The core wound. Ooh, I'm having some. Hope everybody's doing great today. All right, there we go. Oh no, two out. So you know they go back in for me. I need one to start. So we're gonna get one out. Sometimes the pull is in the beginning is really hard, but you gotta just ask for it and feel it. Okay, two out again. One for us, please. Okay. And I had one go on the floor. We're going to keep that. And it's the moon in reverse. Okay. And as you already know, the moon card is for in reverse is about hidden enemies, danger. It could be about darkness. You know, somebody plotting in the end and revenge or what have you. All right. And this is where this card reveals what was truly violated. So it could have what this is telling me is that you got some hidden enemies out there you didn't know. I could say there's plenty I didn't even know I had hidden enemies. Okay, I had no idea that was the the issue, you know. But what this is telling me with this moon card in reverse is it's just saying the wound is acknowledged and it's surfacing. Okay. And that's what happened for me too in this state. Okay. As I was ascending and my wounds were and my hidden enemies were becoming more prevalent. Um, and it was very shocking to me to realize that, when you got to realize it's not about the people who are your enemies, it's about the entity that's on them. And how you can recognize when an entity is on someone is when they're running a pattern and they don't even realize that they're running a pattern. Okay. So as you become more aware of your own patterns, you're going to become aware of people doing patterns around you. All right. And so they'll run a pattern on you that violates you in some way and it violates your dignity. And then they'll just continue to do it, whether it's disrespect, whether it's anything, stealing from you. It could be lying to you. They're all okay with this energy as it's expressed toward you. And then when you react to it, they're even they punish you for that. So, that's how they become enemies. But let me just tell you here, there's always a technique I'm going to provide you guys with. And this technique is called truth naming. All right. Now remember, these techniques are coming up to me from meditative and intuitive, because we got to know what action to jump into when we're presented with a certain energy when people walk upon us. Okay. So the truth naming is you ask yourself, what exactly hurt you? People like to play in your face. If you don't know what exactly hurt you, that's how they continue to be able to run the pattern, because you won't name it. You won't tell them, hey, you keep doing the same thing, the exact same thing, the exact same thing. I could talk to you about this, and your response is this. I can talk to you about B, and your response is still this. That's when they're running a pattern. Okay. You got to know what to do in that. Okay. All right. So then the next thing out is how the revenge energy shows up. Okay. So you're going to be looking hard for it. So we're going to ask Spirit, how does this revenge energy shows up in our field, in the collective field, Spirit, so that we can recognize those south nodes? Because when we're vibrating high, some of that stuff looks strange to us and we be questioning it. So we want to know, how does the revenge energy shows up, Spirit? Let us know, please. That's too many. I'm pretty sure it shows up in all kinds of ways, but we just gonna get one card out. So how does it show? All right. And Spirit says it'll show up at a Page of Pentacles sometimes in reverse. Hmm. The Page of Pentacles in reverse. Well, the only thing I can think about, pages don't really ever really have anything going on. So it's usually, and if it's a pentacle, maybe it's a loss of money. All right. It could be, maybe I'm thinking being unemployed. Somebody got a job, somebody hating on you because you got a job, or they feel like they want to get revenge against you because you're doing well out here getting your money. It could be showing up like that. It can show up, you be wanting revenge when you're unemployed, but you got to remember, hey, that has nothing to do with anybody. I remember somebody in my family, I gently suggest that they get off the couch and go get a job. And revenge actually motivated them out of their depression. I'll tell you, revenge is good. It could be good sometimes, but in this case, it was one step up from depression. All right. So that person there, I don't even, it helped in that situation. But if this card right here is coming out in the reverse, that means that, you might have some energy around you. All right. Where anger, you got some rumination going on. You might have some fantasies about retaliation. Okay. And this shows how the body holds up to the fight response. All right. So if you're having any of those fight feelings and it's coming up from anger and fantasies of retaliation, you got to remember putting those two actions and energy together is not of the divine. You will not be protected in anything that you step out on and use any of your senses to try to put out in this 3D world. You got to know how to align so that you can be successful. And that's all I'm trying to share with you here. Okay. So, one of the techniques I use is called body awareness. Notice where the tension lives in your body. If you feel yourself balling up like a piece of paper, that means you're contracting and you have lost control of the wheel of your own car. 12-12 on the timer. All right. So you have to know what's going on with you at all given moments, especially when you have been approached by some energy that puts you in revenge energy. Okay. And you don't want to get in trouble. All right. So, what you need to know that you didn't receive. Okay. So, we want to know what we needed to know, but we didn't receive in this kind of energy that made us get here, making us feel like we got revenge. And that was one of the questions that came up for me when I was meditating. So, here it is in the and so what it is a four of cups in reverse. Okay. And I'm looking at a four cups in reverse, and we could have been waking up from, thinking of having a lot on our mind, or thinking too much, overthinking even. Overthinking could have caused the whole revenge. They talk about rumination, you know, rumination and just playing the same thing over and over and over, you know. Now the need is becoming clear, seeing this in reverse. You see what I mean? Because every revenge got these urge points and these unmet needs. That's why it keeps coming up. You feeling like you're missing something that you didn't get that belongs to you. And what it is just your power and your dignity. But somehow it gets equated to a person, place, or thing. And it's never ever really about any of that. It's really about how you feel about yourself. Okay. All right. So what this is telling me is that you're gonna have to go within. The technique that came up and the technique that I use, inner acknowledgement. All the power is inside you. There is nothing outside of you that can power you up. Everything you need to heal is inside of you. And we talk about that here. Collective. I talk about that because we're about getting better. We actually, this is just training for manifestation. You got to be the energy to receive what it is that you want. And I can guarantee you that being in revenge energy can get you so far, but it's not going to get you to your highest self unless you learn how to transmute. Okay. All right. So when you do your inner acknowledgement, what you're going to say is what I needed matter in that moment. You're going to acknowledge whatever it was in that moment that you did not get. while you were dealing in this energy of revenge. And you're going to say, yeah, I needed it. It mattered then. But right now, it does not, because I've already moved past it. All right. So the next card out is asking spirit how I was asking spirit, how did I give up on myself during that? When show me where I wasn't paying attention to me. And so we're going to ask spirit for the collective, how do we abandon ourselves in these events when a revenge makes itself known? And what jumped out was the Seven of Wands in reverse. Okay. And so the Seven of Wands in reverse is saying that we might have felt like we were being overtaken. You know what I'm saying? We might have even felt weak, felt like giving up, you know? And that's probably where we felt like we had to get revenge, you know? Somebody really just made us feel lowly about ourselves, and it came from ruminating on it too. You gotta know where it starts, and you gotta know how to save yourself. All right, because this is the kind of energy that eat away at your organs. It lowers your immune system so that other entities that carry you know uh, terminal illness can mount you and get and have you believe in and manifest in something altogether different. If you're gonna ruminate, we're gonna learn how to transmute energy and ruminate on the good things. All right, until they sprout. That's what you mean. That's what they mean by reaping what you sow. You know what this card is telling me, collective, is that your self support is returning low. You're starting to see it. My thoughts, I'd let somebody make me feel low, get me to crash out status. I think about it over and over, what I could have said, what I could have did, reversing the conversation over in my head. I should have said this, I should have said that. Next time, I can't wait. All you're doing is gearing up and creating the next time where there's going to be conflict. All right. But this is saying here, you got to use this next technique. It's always about the here and now. Get out the past, get off the pity train, you know what I'm saying, and come back into the now. And so that technique is called self-present anchor. You're going to get in the present, the power of now. There's a book I read by Eckhart Tolle years ago when I was in a low point in my life. I thought it was a low point, but I was actually being protected, you know. And I read it about the importance of the power of now, because right now is the only moment we have. Now is the moment that you use to manifest. Okay. But if you ruminating about some old ish that happened way back when, because you still feeling sorry for yourself and you can't let it go, all you're going to do is create more of that energy going forward. All right. So you're going to have to tell yourself in this new technique, I stay with myself now. I stay with myself. I ain't letting people drag me all over the place. That happened. I got through it. I'm back smiling. I'm unbothered and I'm moving on. Okay. And that's what it's about. That is what it's about. So now you're going to have some safe expressions when you get angry. You know, a lot of times people, all that I match energy, that's a trap. That's a trap. Anything in the algorithm. And all of a sudden you just assume it as your identity. It might as well be Agent Smith going, hey, say this. You don't match energy. You own your energy. Okay. So you're going to have to know safe expressions of anger. All right. And so I ask spirit for myself because, I could have crashed out and been behind bars many a days for many a people. But who want to live like that? That's not my highest self. So I asked spirit, what's a safe expression of anger? What could be a safe expression of anger? And so we're going to ask spirit on this table, and we're going to ask the ancestors, because they'll get with you. All right. And so what came out was a Six of Swords energy. Okay. And so what they're telling me in the Six of Swords is that you got to just, in your own difficult times, you got to move on. You got to focus on healing. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's about. You got to think about improvement. You know, if nobody ain't gonna be, you don't have nobody around you who's not gonna help you be better. You deserve better. You deserve to feel better. It's all about feeling better and treating yourself better. And that's what the ancestors want us. Thank you, ancestors, for this card. All right. So what this is telling me is that coming out in the upright like this, they say you're gonna have to end those difficult times, which means you're gonna have to end them in your mind. You're gonna have to end them in your story you tell yourself. And you're going to have to do a healthy release through voice, movement, and truth. You can't lie. It's all about being authentic and truthful at all times, no matter what. Even if you know you're lying and nobody else knows you're lying, the divine knows you're lying. And therefore, you have dishonored your own self. Okay? You got to know how to treat yourself. All right? So basically, this is just telling me the technique I do. I do the release breath. I'm telling you, I've been using it. Let me tell you why. Because there have been times when people have called me and caught me off guard, and they'll take your breath away. But if you do that quick 6-second breathe in and that 4-second release and do that 3 times and pause, nobody's gonna get to you. Make sure you exhale audibly through your mouth. Breathe in through the nose, hold it 6 seconds. Fill up your lungs. Exhale through your mouth. And hey, it's just like that one emoji that looked like it got the steam coming out the ears. You might want to do that in front of some people and see what what the response might be. You know what I mean? Well, anyhow, we're on the healing journey, but hey, nobody can police you and tell you what you need to do. So now you got to get your boundaries back in place because you always, the next thing is who's going to check you? Nobody. So we're going to be talking about the boundaries. All right. So I experienced what's the best boundary? How can I restore my boundaries? Y'all already know what it is, but we're going to get it from spirit anyway. That's so many. Okay, let me ask again. How can we have boundary restoration, spirit? Spirit want to tell me a lie. Okay, there it go. And it jumped on the floor. Give me 1 second. And it came out as temperance. That's how you do it. Thank you, spirit. You can't make it up in the cards now. Temperance is, you already know what it's all about. It's about balance. It's about, in the upright, it's about making sure that you be, stingy with your energy. Be frugal with who you give your energy to, especially people who are getting you in a negative space. You already know that what's at stake is your manifestation receptive energy. Anytime you get out of an energy of receptivity to manifest and get into any of these energies that these karmics be trying to get you in, even when you be listening to it, I be listening to it and sometimes I be like, you know what I'm saying? I be feeling, but I can listen to tarot and hear about the karmics and just hear confirmation of what the Lord said, the Spirit said. The divine said, the Most High said, what? Revenge is mine. So when you hear about the karmics getting their karma, you already know it's working. You already know. Okay. So what this card tells me right here, clear limits, protective actions, and your self-respect. That's all it's about. Clock it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it's about. And you're going to do that with a boundary affirmation technique. I protect my peace. You already know. Instead of I match energy, I protect my peace. How about you? I hear you. Okay, I hear you. If that resonated with you, go ahead and put some gold hearts down there and then drop some in the comments. Okay. Let me know if that resonated with you. Okay, I appreciate that. All right, now you're going to have to let go of that retaliation fantasy. You got some people out here. I know we watch a lot of Lifetime, and there are 100 million ways to get back at somebody. But hey, I don't like having that kind of energy. That energy don't even feel good. I don't even, my body don't even feel good with that kind of energy. So we're going to have to learn how to let go of some retaliation energy. And so, of course, I went to my ancestors and the spirit guides and the Most High, and I asked, how can we let go of retaliation energy? And what came out was, wow, 8 of Cups. Okay. So 8 of Cups energy for me tells me letting go and moving on. And that's exactly what I did. Spirit is funny. These cards, when I say they jump out, they jump out and they tell you what to do. You got to let go. You got to move on. You got to let go. You got to move on. You got to change. You got to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, what's what? They running a whole pattern. It don't work. They can't see it. They're not aware of it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting on the ride with them. But I don't like that. So what I'm gonna do is balance myself out, and then I'm gonna let that ish go. I'm gonna let it go because it ain't working. It's not working. Okay. And so what this card is saying, all right, this card shows you how to release the story of getting even. You don't need to get even. The good Lord can take care of it way better than you would ever think about. Okay. And so this tells me that you're ready to let that fantasy dissolve up out your head. All right. And that's good because when you get rid of that energy, that frees up space for you to fill it up with receptive manifestation energy. Fill yourself up with that. Okay. I'm just saying, try it. Try it. I know I sound like a big sister who thinks she's running things. But I promise you, if it wasn't working, I wouldn't be here right now trying to get you to do it. Okay. So one of the techniques that I got when I meditated on this was the release statement. Okay. And this really helped me because I had to think about this in regards to family, guys. And Spirit told me their suffering is not your healing. Collective, their suffering is not your healing. You got to remember we're all walking our own paths. And you got to understand your path before you can attempt to even try to sympathize or empathize with someone else's path. Okay? You got to be full in your own cup before you can give from overflow. Okay? And so, therefore, you cannot not understand your own self and take on trying to understand others in lieu of understanding yourself. You cannot save and rescue others without participating in your own rescue either. All right. So just remember that. All right. So you got to reclaim your personal power. Spirit told me the next thing out was going to be reclaiming the personal power. And what jumped out was this Five of Swords. Now you already know when the Five of Swords come out, you know you're going to come up with some conflict. People are going to be trying to pull you back into this energy and everything. But you're going to have to reclaim your personal power even in conflict, even when you're gonna have to call it, you're gonna have to name it every time it happens. Oh, we're back on this again. I see you're trying to take me out of the year we're currently in and take me in a time machine back to something else. I choose to live in the now. If you can't see my growth and you can't see that I'm not that person that you still got revenge on from 20 years ago, I cannot participate in this Lifetime movie that you're directing in your head. You're going to have to stand up for yourself. Okay. And there might be some tension, but it's going to be okay because you're going to be righteous in yours. You're not going to be the only pattern you're going to be running is a pattern of breaking generational curses and cycles and patterns where people are damaging themselves and others. That's all you're going to be doing. Okay. So that's how you're gonna reclaim it. And so this card is telling me you got the confidence, you got the clarity and the self-trust. And it looked like you got the hands. No, I'm just joking. We're not throwing hands. I'm just saying the mental hands to come around it. You're listening to, we're working it out together on this journey. So you're getting all these techniques and you're putting those in your pocket. So you ready, collective. And I'm right here for you in case you don't remember. You can always come back to one of these videos and look it up. All right. And it'll be here. So the technique that I use for this is called the power posture. All right. You got to stand up in your full glory. All right. Because you got to remember the energy that you channeling from the divine is coming through your crown chakra. All right. So you want to make sure that you're standing in attention. All right. This technique, you sit tall, you stand tall, you feel your spine, and you breathe. Because ain't nobody going to break you down. You're strong. All right. Now, the next thing we got to do, because what you got to understand, collective, it is your job to make sure you restore and protect. When they say protect your peace, that means your nervous system. Back in the day when our parents were saying you getting on my nerves, they meant their nervous system. They meant you were interfering with them, living their best life, feeling their best with your energy. All right. So then I'm like, what we do, Spirit told me when I was meditating, forgiveness got to become a part of your nervous system release. All right. So let's ask Spirit on how to do that. How to get more into forgiveness energy when somebody, to get past and transmute the revenge energy. And 2 came out. I'm going back in. All right. Let's see what we can do. I hope you guys are still with me, and I'm glad that you are. And if you are, go ahead and drop some gold hearts down there in the comments for me. All right, just to let me know that this is working for you. I hope this is working for you because it's been working for me. Collective Knight of Wands. All right. So the question was forgiveness as a nervous system release. How are we going to do that? We're going to go into this Knight of Wands energy. All right. With it. So that means we're going to go with forward movement. We're going to be enthusiastic about it. We got what we need. Revenge is no longer a stronghold. We're no longer running from the spirit of revenge. We know that's a nasty, dark energy. I already know. The Lord said, let me handle it. So when I feel it, I immediately want it up off of me like a wet, dirty jacket. I want it off. So I'm gonna get into this Knight of Wands energy collective, and I'm gonna suggest that you do it too, because what's it gonna do? It's gonna be enthusiasm. It's gonna be that energy, that forward movement we want to do. We're gonna move with passion on this because this is about our peace, and we protect our peace with amazing passion. Okay. That's what we do. All right. And so this is telling me that you might start softening up. You might get neutral. You start feeling emotionally free because you already know what you're going to do. You're not going to let this energy get you crazy at all. You hear me? You're not going to let this energy get you anywhere. All right. And so the technique I always use is always what we use, what we got. All right. And so the technique that you can employ in this moment when you're getting in this energy, just breathe. Place your hand on your solar plex and just breathe in and out. Imagine some golden light, you know, and just inhale for calm and exhale the tension. You ain't got to name nothing. You ain't got to judge nothing. You ain't got to think about nothing. You don't have to do anything. Just breathe and know you're safe. And you letting some go. You making room. All right. Now, who you become when you are free from revenge? Who do we become? We become healed, of course, but we're gonna ask Spirit, who do we become? We're gonna ask the tarot to reveal the cards for us, okay? And it came out the High Priestess in reverse. All right. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, why the High Priestess in reverse? Because number one, usually the High Priestess is someone who has like everything going on. All right. However, looking at this and telling me in reverse, this could be that we might get somewhere where our insight can get stuck trying to figure out what's going on with others. This is what Spirit is telling me. All right. However, what we want to do when we become a person free from revenge, we really want to get this energy to be in the upright. All right. But the integration of doing all these techniques is going to be a process. And so you don't want to be fooled thinking that this is something that's just going to happen overnight. All right. So don't be ignorant. Don't lack any insight when you're doing these healing techniques for yourself. All right. So one of the techniques you can use is called the future self vision. All right. This one is where you imagine your healed self saying, I'm free now. I actually did this one Saturday. I was playing gospel music and I actually, that one song, It's Over Now. And I kept saying that it's over now. It's over now. It's over now. And when I say that's what I truly believe now, it came from me in the moment. All right. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the Kipperish. Cause I love me some intuitive Kev. That's another one that I listen to. When I say if you want to that when I say divine, I love and the cards are amazing. I have the Kipperish and I had an extra deck. But when you read tarot, I'm gonna let you know you get called to the decks that spirit wants you to pull out. So I'm so excited about using this one today. So we're going to be just taking a look at some of these here, and this is the Kipperish Oracle deck. All right, and so we're just going to see what spirit pulls out. And I'm gonna pull a few. It's a big deck. It's beautiful. Like look at that. But oh, I love intuitive cat. Oh. When I got these, I was so excited. Okay, all right. I just let them come out. Got trusted. Okay. Trusted. All right. You got courthouse. Let's see what else we got out here. What is this energy? I'm gonna ask spirit. See what we can get. Maybe it was something about somebody you trusted you had to wind up going to the courthouse with. Somebody you wanted to get revenge on. Think about it, collective. We got to get our minds right. We can't be out here just letting these dark entities pull us to get us to match their energy. It's a trap. I'm telling you. All right, let's see what else we can get here. Okay. Ah, voodoo. But it came out in the reverse. You might be feeling like somebody trying to do somebody who has some backwards voodoo coming on. I know people accuse me of doing that, and I'm like, I'm only trying to help you, baby. I ain't trying to do no voodoo on you, baby. I'm not even from Louisiana. Not that all people in Louisiana do voodoo, but you know, our Creole sisters and them. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we wind up getting out manifestation. I've been talking about it. I've been talking about it. Okay. I told you guys, get over there in this temperance energy so you can go ahead and get your manifestation on. And then another one that had came out was health concerns. I talked about you being in health concerns up here. Okay. All right. Let's just see what we can get out of the True Heart Oracle deck. All right. I'm going to go over here and see what we can get. Those are some beautiful drawings. Yeah, these were some of the examples that came out in the reading. All right. And so Spirit say, be hopeful, have big dreams to chase. They may come around, possibilities and all of that. Make room for that. Get rid of the revenge energy and also be vulnerable. You might need security above all and have fragile emotions, but you're walking away. Remember, you're not going to lack ignorance around your own healing. So you're going to walk away and you're going to be vulnerable with yourself and you're going to always name it. You're going to be authentic and tell the truth. Okay. All right. And we're going to get one more out here. All right. And Unlocked came out. It shows how they feel ready to give you all open book available. I don't know. I would say you're going to unlock this key. Is giving me symbolic of the key that I have up here, and you're gonna unlock. You're gonna get the key to healing yourself through this revenge energy. That's what this is telling me, spirit, and spirit is saying that's the truth. Now I'm gonna say this, collective. Take one final breath, all right? Because I know Hopefully, I can help you cure some of your crash out tendencies. All right. But you got to know revenge was never your true desire. No one's trying to lose their life, lose their freedom. Okay. All you wanted was to matter, be safe, be respected, and be whole again. And this is what this is trying to tell you. All right. When you feel the anger, name the wound, restore your boundaries, and return to yourself. Name the wound, restore your boundaries, and return to yourself. Okay? The revenge story dissolves naturally. You do not heal by hurting back. You just don't. All right? You heal by no longer needing to. Now I'm gonna tell you, that's how it's worked for me. And there's many scriptures that support this. All right. Now, if this reading supported your journey, put some gold hearts in the comments for me, okay, and help push my video out into the algorithm. All right, I really, really appreciate that because I really, really appreciate you. And please like, share, and subscribe to Oracle Rose Healing Tarot. And always remember, collective, keep walking in your light.